Hello everyone, welcome to my update US gossip channel. For years, fans believed that Meri Brown's so-called sacrifice, her willingness to legally divorce Kody so he could marry Robyn and adopt her children, was one of the most selfless acts ever shown on Sister Wives. It was framed as Meri's gift to the family, her way of protecting Robyn's kids and uniting all the Browns under one name. But as time went on, the cracks in that noble story began to show. What was once presented as Meri's act of pure love and loyalty started looking more like a carefully orchestrated setup, one that Kody and Robyn used to cement their own future together while quietly cutting Meri out of the family structure she helped build. The more you look back, the clearer it becomes that Meri's so-called sacrifice wasn't really hers at all. It was a calculated con, masked by tears, spiritual talk, and Kody's manipulative storytelling. When Kody first pitched the legal divorce idea, he told the cameras that it was purely logistical. He claimed it was about the family's legal needs, that Robyn's children needed to be protected, and that this was the only way to ensure they could have Kody's name and insurance coverage. But fans remember the tension in that scene. Meri looked shattered, Robyn looked emotional but quietly triumphant, and Kody, in his signature authoritative tone, looked as if he had already made the decision long before Meri even processed it. That moment marked the beginning of the end for Meri, and possibly the most strategic move of Kody and Robyn's marriage. If you trace the emotional fallout, it becomes obvious that Kody and Robyn gained everything from that divorce, while Meri lost her marriage, her status, and her emotional leverage within the family. Once Kody became legally tied to Robyn, the balance of power shifted permanently. Robyn gained legal legitimacy and emotional priority, while Meri's connection to Kody became symbolic, spiritual at best, forgotten at worst. It's as though Meri's sacrifice was the exact moment Robyn's long game paid off. For years, Robyn had positioned herself as the peacemaker, the woman who wanted to bring harmony and fairness to the family. But in hindsight, her timing, her language, and her subtle emotional influence on Kody tell a different story. Robyn played the long game, she appealed to Kody's ego, mirrored his frustrations with the other wives, and slowly convinced him that the family's dysfunction wasn't between him and her, but rather between him and everyone else. By the time the divorce papers were signed, Kody was already emotionally checked out from Meri, Janelle, and even Christine. Robyn didn't have to manipulate him outright, she simply positioned herself as his safe place, his only loyal wife. Meri, on the other hand, was left holding on to the illusion of her importance. Kody and Robyn made her believe that the divorce was temporary, that it was purely about helping the kids. They let her think that she was still spiritually married, still loved, still valued. But the truth came out in the years that followed. Meri became the outsider. She was rarely filmed with Kody, she wasn't invited to key family decisions, and Robyn's children became the emotional core of Kody's daily life. The supposed favor Meri did for Robyn turned into the nail in her own marital coffin. What's striking is how Kody and Robyn reframed that sacrifice every time it came up on camera. Whenever the topic of the divorce resurfaced, Robyn always cried and thanked Meri, but those tears always came with undertones of guilt and triumph. She said things like, "I'll never forget what Meri did for me," but what she didn't say was that Meri's act gave her everything she'd ever wanted: legal marriage, protection, and control. Kody echoed those sentiments, often praising Meri's selflessness while also subtly painting her as unstable, emotional, or disconnected. It was the classic manipulation technique, turning your victim into a hero in public while privately isolating them. The way the show presented it also deserves scrutiny. TLC framed it as a turning point in family unity, a necessary step. But fans could see that after the divorce, the family never truly recovered. Janelle and Christine both saw the dynamic shift. Christine later said she no longer felt like part of a plural marriage, that Kody had chosen a favorite. Janelle tried to stay diplomatic, but even she acknowledged that things were different after that. The so-called logistical move had emotional consequences that none of the wives could ignore. And Kody's behavior after the divorce spoke volumes. Instead of reaffirming his love for Meri, he grew colder. Instead of maintaining balance between wives, he started spending almost all his time with Robyn. Meri's attempts to reach out, whether through counseling, therapy, or those awkward family dinners, were brushed off. By season 18, when Meri finally confronted Kody about their non-existent marriage, he didn't even pretend to care. He told her bluntly that there was nothing there and that she should stop waiting for something that would never return. That was Kody's truth, and it revealed the full extent of how deeply the con had worked. The legal divorce wasn't about Robyn's children. It was about Kody having an excuse to legitimize his relationship with Robyn while leaving the door open to emotionally discard Meri without looking like the bad guy. The optics worked perfectly for him. He could tell fans he did it for love for Robyn's children, love for family unity. But in reality, it was about consolidating power, protecting Robyn's household, and rewriting the structure of the Brown family to make Robyn his primary and only wife in all but name. Even Robyn's repeated insistence that she didn't want to be the favorite sounds hollow now. Her actions after the divorce, from her control over finances to her sway over Kody's decisions, made it clear she enjoyed her elevated status. She was the only one whose opinions Kody respected, the only one he defended, and the only one who got what she wanted. When Christine left, Kody's rage was directed at her betrayal. When Janelle pushed back, Kody blamed her for disloyalty. But when Robyn cried, Kody bent over backward to comfort her. That imbalance isn't accidental, it's the result of years of emotional conditioning that started with that divorce. Meri's pain became the emotional scapegoat of the show. Kody and Robyn let her carry the burden of being the sad wife, the one who couldn't move on, the one fans pitted. They never once tried to rebuild her relationship with Kody, not really. They gave lip service to forgiveness, but it always came with conditions that Meri could never meet. Every time Meri tried to prove herself, she was reminded that she had betrayed Kody with the catfishing scandal, or that she needed to earn back trust. Meanwhile, Robyn never had to earn anything, she was simply loved, trusted, and prioritized. It's also worth noting how financially strategic that divorce was. Once Kody and Robyn were legally married, they could manage joint assets, insurance, and potential inheritance rights that excluded the other wives. If Kody had any doubts about who he wanted his legal partner to be, that move erased them. Robyn's children became his legal dependents, while Meri's child, Leon, became an adult and moved on. In one paperwork shuffle, Kody and Robyn had legally bound their households while emotionally freeing themselves from any accountability to the others. Over the next decade, Meri's sacrifice became a cautionary tale for viewers. Fans saw in real time how manipulation can be dressed up as devotion, how one person's loyalty can be used against them. Meri didn't realize she was walking into a trap, because she still believed in Kody's vision of family. That belief blinded her to what Kody and Robyn were actually doing. They weren't preserving the family, they were restructuring it. And they did it with Meri's signature at the bottom of a divorce decree. In later interviews, Meri often said she didn't regret her choice because she thought it was the right thing for the kids. That's the saddest part, she still believed in the narrative that Kody and Robyn fed her. She took on all the emotional responsibility for something that was engineered to hurt her. Kody and Robyn didn't just take her marriage, they took her story. They turned her into a symbol of sacrifice so they could look virtuous while quietly dismantling the plural marriage they claimed to value. By the time Meri finally started distancing herself, it was too late. The damage had been done. Kody had long stopped pretending, and Robyn's influence over him was complete. When Meri announced that she and Kody had permanently terminated their relationship, Robyn cried again, but those tears rang hollow. Fans saw through it. The woman who once said she wanted sisterhood now stood at the top, alone, having achieved everything she'd wanted: Kody's loyalty, legal protection, and emotional dominance. What makes the entire situation even more painful is that Meri still tried to hold on to dignity. She started new ventures, ran her bed and breakfast, and spoke about independence. But even then, she couldn't escape the shadow of what had been done to her. The show continued to frame her storyline around loss, isolation, and perseverance, while Robyn's storyline centered around holding the family together. The irony is almost unbearable. The woman who destroyed the family's balance was now portrayed as its last hope. As Sister Wives moves into its next phase, the truth about that so-called sacrifice feels more evident than ever. It wasn't a spontaneous act of love, it was a carefully staged moment of manipulation. Kody and Robyn needed Meri to agree willingly so they could wash their hands of guilt. They needed her compliance to maintain the illusion of fairness. And once she gave it, they moved forward without looking back. Now, years later, Kody publicly laments that the family has fallen apart, but fans know better. The collapse didn't start when Christine left. It didn't start with Janelle's financial disputes. It started with that one piece of paper, the divorce that redefined everything. That's when Kody stopped being a husband to 4 women and became a monogamist under the guise of plural marriage. That's when Robyn stopped pretending to be a sister wife and became the queen of the empire Kody had built. And that's when Meri's sacrifice revealed itself for what it really was, the greatest con ever pulled in sister wives history. In the end, Meri didn't lose because she was weak. She lost because she trusted too deeply in people who had already made other plans. Kody and Robyn's partnership was always about control, control of the narrative, control of the finances, control of the emotional dynamics. Meri was collateral damage in a scheme that made Kody and Robyn the center of the story. And as painful as it is to admit, her sacrifice was never truly hers to give. It was taken from her, disguised as love, justified as duty, and remembered as betrayal.